Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you all for joining me today, Thursday, February 27th, 2025. So much stuff going on today. Had to do another stream, had to do another news stream. I've been wanting to get to this Dead Sea Scroll documentary and go over some of the information that I'm going to put in my books about the Dead Sea, or my book about the Dead Sea Scrolls. But that'll have to be another day, because today we got a lot of news to cover. Trump dictator stuff, Epstein file, limited hangout, the fix is in. Trump pressured Romania to allow the Tates to leave, and they've landed in Florida. We've got some Christian copes, some stuff that you guys made I want to share. So tons of stuff. Tomorrow, we're doing a talk, a stream, an interview with Jeremy Roth-Kushel about Trump-Russia stuff, Zionist stuff. It'll be a great talk with an old friend. It's been a long time since he's been on the show. Appreciate you all for being here. It's going to be a great show. Starting off, here is Trump displaying how he's coming in and going vengeance mode. He has a mandate to go king mode and get the vengeance on the left for the narrative of him being persecuted nonstop.
So, what do you say to people who worry that targeting an individual firm or individuals who aren't Jack Smith?
Excuse me, I've been targeted for 4 years, longer than that. So you don't tell me about targeting. I was the target of corrupt politicians for 4 years, and then 4 years after that. So don't talk to me about targeting.
So don't talk to him about targeting. Now he has the mandate to, I guess, target whoever he wants and do anything he wants. Yeah, struggling a little bit with the hair today. Still figuring out what it wants to do. Okay, so there's that. Golden age activated, sure. Also, I wanted to touch on a couple days ago, Trump accused Zelensky of being a dictator. But, I mean, it's obvious. Everybody's saying Putin's the dictator. Why? So they ask, will you call Putin a dictator? And he says he doesn't use those words lightly.
If you call Zelensky a dictator, would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out. Let's see what happens. I think we have a chance of a really good settlement between various countries. And, you're talking about Europe, and you're talking about Ukraine as part of that whole situation. The other side has a lot of support also. So let's see how it all works out. It might work out. Look, you can never make up lives. The one thing you can make up the money, but you can't make up the lives. A lot of lives lost. I think probably a lot more lives than people are talking about. It's been a rough war, but I think we're close to getting it solved. Go ahead.
So he will not call Putin a dictator, although he clearly is way more than Zelensky. You can make a case for Zelensky. America is getting buttered up like a bagel. Do you put butter on bagels? More like cream cheese. We're getting creamed on. This is a funny one. CNN think that Trump being in control of the FBI and the military is a dictatorship. When the left is so insane what they're up against, Trump is just going to be able to trample these lunatics and get everybody on his side. It's the way it's always been. The president is in charge of the military and the dictatorship. Or in the military and FBI.
Can we be real for a moment that Doge is not about cutting money, right? It's not about spending. It's about shrinking government so that it'll be too small to stop Trump with whatever else is in this plan.
Why would the government stop Trump? Isn't he the head of the government? You're saying the government would be too small to stop Trump. If Trump's the president, why would the government, the bureaucracy, be actively trying to stop him?
Because he is shredding the Constitution and creating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's why.
And no matter who was in office, I'm going to hold them accountable. But more importantly, I'm going to make sure the government is working for the American people.
Both of you all made an interesting point, which is that your view is that Trump is shredding the Constitution. I'd like to hear more about that. but that it seems to me that you all both believe that the unelected part of our government, the bureaucracy, has a responsibility to resist the political leadership. Is that your view?
That's not actually
That's
what
not
we
at all
said. We
what I
said they are
said. Yeah, it is.
upholding the Constitution, the principles of the Constitution, and at times
How
that we
is
have
Trump
seen.
shredding the Constitution?
My God, he's like. Should
I
we
mean,
go to-
seriously,
He
do we
doesn't
have to
believe in
give
the
you a
balance of
civics
power,
lesson
Scott.
that we have?
I don't know,
that we put all power in the executive
How is
branch.
holding the
the
government-
legislative branch, the FBI. Now we're in control of the military. We're
Yes.
silencing media.
Commander-in-Chief,
This
head
is
of
what
the
you
military.
do
The
in a
Supreme Court of
dictatorship.
Are
This
you-
is-
Oh, come on. Silencing media. He kicked the Associated Press out of his press pool. It's not really silencing the media.
Are you suggesting that the president is not
They're
commander-in-chief
saying
of
the
military?
stupidest things. They're literally just discrediting any opposition to Trump.
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right
Dude, look
now,
at
you're
this guy.
gaslighting.
He's gonna
but when we
put-
get to the actual
He's
rubber
gonna
of the
put-
road of
I'm
this,
sorry.
it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who?
Trump's going to do something like that, and then it's going to be guys like that making fools of themselves that's going to let him get away with it.
What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military. That is how it works.
He was elected president. We, according to the Constitution, vest all executive authority in a president. And the concept that the military should be an independent agency or that the bureaucracy should resist the political leadership of this government is extraordinarily dangerous.
That's what we said. That's such a straw
not what
man.
we
It's
said.
That's
ridiculous.
literally not what we said.
I'm just repeating back.
That's like literally not what we said. Arian Blondie says, I hope you, your wife, and children are all feeling better. Yeah, we're all healing up. Looking forward to the show. A lot to cover. I still can't get over how insane Trump's over the built on the dead bodies. Trump and his golden statue and him and Netanyahu on the beach in Gaza drinking Mai Tais. Like, they just don't give a fuck. It's insane. King mode. And now so tired of winning, GOP lawmakers push Trump to recognize West Bank as Israeli territory. First, they've always been pushing for call the West Bank of Palestine, Judea and Samaria. And now we got Representative Claudia Tenney of New York, Republican, framed Gaza and the West Bank as the, quote, heart of our shared Judeo-Christian heritage in a letter to President Trump. So what do they want to annex all of their occupied territories and their illegal settlements? Here's the full statement. In anticipation of a potential policy announcement regarding Judea and Samaria in the next few weeks, we want to express our strong support for recognizing Israel's right to declare sovereignty over this historically and biblically significant region. We also wish, Prison Palace, be quiet. We also wish to express our strong opposition to the recognition of any hostile Arab state in Judea and Samaria that supports terrorism and fails to recognize Israel. The letter applauds Trump for lifting sanctions on Israeli settlers in the West Bank imposed by Biden. Other members of the Friends of Judea and Samaria caucus, you got to be kidding me. Only in a Christian government are we going to have a Friends of Judea and Samaria caucus signed on to the letter. Representative Miller, Weber, Harris, Moore, all Republicans. Trump teased a new announcement on West Bank policy earlier this month. Judeo-Christian biblical heartland, where over 80% of the Torah and Old Testament took place. The region is the heart of our shared Judeo-Christian heritage. So cucked. Thanks, Christian. So tired of winning, Christians. GOP committee chair demands staff call West Bank by biblical name. Oh, the adults are in charge now.
Eruption of anger on social media over the post, including from some Trump supporters. Wondering if we're hearing anything from our U.S. Arab allies in the Middle East. It strikes me that this could create some problems for them back home, make the difficult between the U.S. and Arab allies in the Middle East more difficult. It's something that's very important for national security needs, and also if there is ever going to be any positive solution moving forward in Gaza itself.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. It was only relatively recently that the King of Jordan was here in Washington, and his attempt to sort of provide a kind of friendly atmosphere to Trump went only so far. After that meeting, he had to clarify that his government's position on what he called the unified Arab position was certainly not supportive of any U.S. resettlement or redevelopment of Gaza.
Okay, is this going to restart? Okay, don't want it to restart when I switch over. So now on the Epstein thing, Pam Bondi claimed yesterday that some of the Epstein files will be released tomorrow, and boy, wait till you see what's happening.
You said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk. When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250.
You know how this is all just, they're making a show of this and a spectacle? Is because Epstein was arrested when Trump was president, and he never released the files. They're going to do a kosher, redacted cover-up. The fix is in. We've known the fix is in. The fix was always in.
50 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well, we'll
along
look for
with his
that.
co-defendant.
Absolutely, and he had help.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Sure did.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Some help. Anna Paulina reacts to Pam Bondi's bombshell announcement that some of the Epstein files will be released. So this is the Christian Republican congresswoman that's supposed to be getting to the bottom of the JFK files. And the fix is in also for that.
Everyone should be held accountable for the terrible things that they've done. So that's a big win. Obviously, you guys know we've been tasked to head up, and actually Brandon Gill's here. He's actually heading up the task force on declassification. Although we don't hold declassification authority, we are going to be investigating everything that is released and declassified from the White House. So Epstein's going to be on there, also looking into JFK, RFK, MLK. And so we are very happy. This is a huge win, not just for our task force and for Congress, but I think for the entire country. And again, kudos to Bondi and Trump and everyone that's worked so hard to make that happen. So it's very historical. I'm very happy that I got to get that fact checked by ALX because, frankly, everyone who would have been tweeting about it was here. So that was pretty breaking news. But again, if you guys need anything, look, we're here to serve you.
Okay, and now breaking. DC Drano, Libs of TikTok, Mike Cernovich, who's the other girl? Liz Wheeler, I think, walk out of the White House holding the Epstein 1 Phase 1 binders.
I mean, if you be the building, what we will see soon will
is that cat turd too?
UK Prime Minister, of course, Keir Starmer, arriving there. I'm not sure what they are holding up, so they're going to zoom in on that.
So some of the top Zionist MAGA Twitter accounts, basically, some of the top Trump propagandists, they get first access. They get to come to the White House and get these binders of approved disclosure.
Let's see what it says. Okay, so there's DC Drano right there on the screen, holding up various. I mean, it'd be great if you could walk a little closer. Did you guys catch what that said, producers? I, from this distance, couldn't see the exact words, but if you did, please let me know. Okay. Well, anyway, we saw the building. What we will see.
Okay. All right. The fix is in. It always was. DC Drano, libs of TikTok, who's the Habodnik princess. Mike Cernovich, who did a documentary with Dershowitz, Epstein's lawyer, and even was intervening and involved with Epstein-Dershowitz court cases. So we got the pro-Zionist Habodnik Jewish Chaya Reichik, or whatever her name is. All the influencers welcome to the White House hold a particular set of beliefs. Isn't that interesting? All the pro-Jew influencers holding on to documents that don't expose Jewish connections to Epstein, just as we expected. All the gatekeepers are getting it. How about that? All the glowing Zionist propagandists, influencers, they're going to give us the truth about Epstein now, huh? It's just like when Trump took over Twitter and there was the Twitter files and he gave it to all of these insider connected Barry Weiss and people like that. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Now look at this. Believe this. Cernovich is there, huh? Mike Cernovich. He's there getting to the bottom of these files. Is Liz Wheeler, is she a QAnon girl? Is her name, right? Liz Wheeler. I might be getting her mixed up with somebody else, some other blonde MAGA girl that's a QAnon person. But Mike Cernovich, look at this old clip now of what Mike Cernovich said about people saying that Epstein was Mossad. And then consider that he's here with these Zionist influencers. Watch this.
What I don't like is people who are biased, and we all have them. I don't like that I hear people immediately go to the Clintons or Mossad, because that's just not sophisticated, first of all, and it's vaguely anti-Semitic. Mossad. Well, why, if Epstein were...
So you're just not sophisticated and you're anti-Semitic if you think Epstein had anything to do with Mossad. Sounds like the perfect guy to release the documents. We could totally trust Cernovich's journalism. Getting to the bottom of this. Can you believe this?
Mossad. Because that's just not sophisticated, first of all, and it's vaguely anti-Semitic. Mossad. Well, why, if Epstein were with Mossad, he'd be with the FBI too, right? You really think if Jeffrey Epstein was working for Mossad, that our own FBI wouldn't have intercepts of those conversations, right? So
you don't think Israel has encrypted private lines with any of their people in America? You think that the FBI knows everything that Mossad does? No, that's complete bullshit.
If Jeffrey Epstein was working for Mossad, that our own FBI wouldn't have intercepts of those conversations, right? So why just jump, Mossad? Why just jump there? Why not Civilians Activities Group? Why not, maybe there's a department in the state?
I don't know, maybe because it was Les Wexner and the mega group, the ultra-Zionist Les Wexner, and Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father was a literal Mossad agent. Could maybe that? Maybe that he's hanging out with Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel. Can you believe it? If you want to know the fix is in, Cernovich is there, and this is his type of rhetoric on Epstein and Mossad.
Stuff,
unbelievable.
Right? So why go there? And also Clinton, that's just a cliche. They don't have any power. The Prince Andrew, though, royalty, they have power. So it could be the FBI and other elements, not the FBI, qua FBI, but elements within it could be. But that's why I just really am disappointed with a lot of people who are taking hokey, hacky, campy conspiracy theories that are too well-trodden, well-worn. What we're dealing with is unprecedented, right? What we're dealing with the Epstein, from the initial charges in 2009 to the civil lawsuit to the criminal charges, to you name, everything is unprecedented. So if you're using your same models of thought on Epstein, you're not upgrading. And that means there's a time where people like me, I don't know. Who did it? I don't know. What happened? I don't know. I don't know. That's okay, because by developing that, well, I don't know, that means I'm open to possibilities rather than just doing some cliched fallback, that isn't going to elevate my thinking, your thinking.
This was a giant blackmail scheme.
Oh, this was Alex's initial reaction. Breaking news. It was either when he died or he got arrested. Here was Alex Jones. Breaking news from the airport line. Listen to who he blames for Epstein. Can't believe he thought he could get away with this shit.
This was a giant blackmail scheme to frame all these people. So the deep state and the Clintons and the Chi-Coms. The Chi-Coms have been controlling us, folks, and Trump is on the move.
Yeah, Trump's arresting them all. The deep state and the Chi-Coms and the Clintons. Yeah, they're the ones behind Epstein. Those Chi-Com. Epstein working for the Chi-Com. So there's, I gotta retweet this, I think, and share this. Somebody's gonna probably take it from me. I have a feeling they're gonna mirror it, but whatever. Time is of the essence. What should I say? Cernovich. I can see why Cernovich would be invited for this release. ... Uh-oh. Oh, it's uploading really slow, I think, because we're live streaming. I guess we'll come back to that. Feels like a show. Feels like this is a theater right now. These goddamn Chi-Coms. Oh, I forgot too, by the way. Right before the election, they released some new tapes of Epstein saying that he was best friends with Trump for 10 years.
He is charming. He is able to convince people. So he tells everybody what they want to hear.
So how do you know this?
That goes to straight.
He has a sense of humor. He can be funny.
He's great. His ability to sell. It's very much like Clinton. Both Bill and Donald have the ability to go over to a fat, ugly woman. So you are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So you probably know he has scalp reduction. Because he has the same male pattern moment that we all have. So he's not a horrible human being. He does nasty things to his best friends' wives. Anyone who first tries to gain the trust and then uses it to do bad things. That's how it goes.
Donald Trump walking in on the dressing rooms of young pageant contestants.
Okay, so there it is. They're friends. This feels like a theater and a cover-up. But instead, we're not getting the real truth on Epstein or JFK. But they are releasing the new Epstein, basically. And no, he's not. I'm not going to accuse him of being just as bad as Epstein. But Andrew Tate getting released by Trump, basically. Trump getting it done and going to Florida, of course. And but Tate did tweet years ago from his Twitter account that he basically liked Epstein. He thought Epstein was cool. He was defending Epstein. Cernovich is doing the good mitzvah number as a must. Trump will destroy the deep station. Okay, so here's the latest. Tate speaks out for the first time since 2022 outside of Romania. Left Romania. Trump pulled some levers, leaned on some people, possibly made some threats or some bribes to free the big MAGA Rumble influencer, the big Christian Muslim opposition.
Carefully constructed. We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever. We have no criminal record anywhere on the planet ever. Our case was dismissed on the 19th of December in Romania under the Biden administration. And our prosecutor recently decided, because we have no active indictment in court, to let us go and return. This is a democratic society. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, as my brother and I are. And I think it's extremely important that we stop allowing media spin, wrap-up smears, lies, or carefully constructed narratives from George Soros-funded operations trying to destroy the reputations of good people who have no intention to do anything other than follow the law.
Why are you in Florida? Why are you here? Why did Donald Trump help get you travel ban lifted? Did Donald Trump help get the travel ban lifted?
a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are large.
All right, so they're going to be more famous than ever. Get ready for the Andrew Tate tour. Tate is their man and can't be touched. Don't worry, Israel will investigate themselves, right? He's toned down the Free Palestine sentiment the last few weeks. This has been cooking for a while. Yeah, I know. He beat a underage girl with a belt and abused girls and branding girls and was pimping girls basically online. Yeah, I know. Okay. Interesting. Ron DeSantis says Florida does not welcome him.
Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction.
Is he welcome here? What the state do? Send him back to Romania or whatever?
We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this.
Does he think that there's no like webcam guys, webcam pimps in Florida?
We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something.
I can get not like getting a guy that's somewhat like fled from a country or something, because you know he's not ever going to go back for another trial to Romania. So you wanted mass deportations, so all we can do is Tate importations. Yeah, Trump said he didn't want to bring the rapist and the criminals, but I guess he makes an exception for Andrew Tate. Also interesting. This is Murder by Crayons. It's the guy that's always doing anti-Tate stuff. Dan Bongino, the new FBI, I think, assistant director, says, hot damn, Tate is melting the internet right now on Rumble. He literally owns Rumble, or is a owner in Rumble. And Andrew Tate is a top Rumble sponsor. I saw a figure that he was getting had a $9 million contract with Rumble. He's praying for his mom, and they're thanking each other. They're buddies. So did he pull some strings as well? And then remember when we all saw this coming, when Trump's lawyer was drooling and like swooning for Andrew Tate on a podcast they did. The Benny Johnson show, the funded by Russia, Tim Pool. What was that? The name of their company? The Asian girl, I'm forgetting the name that got busted. Tenet Media. He was getting that Tenet Russia money. And then now look at this. This is Trump's lawyer.
Hey. Hello, Alina.
Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan.
Well, nice to meet you. I'm a fan. You're the one saving Trump. You're doing more important work than me.
America, not just Trump. And I agree with everything you just said. And I think that your anger is the same that President Trump has for our country. And the time is now for us to stop being wimps. I think that's exactly the right sentiment. And I also have to say that I sympathize with you, because I think you go through a lot of the same, show me the person, I'll find the crime that President Trump has gone through. And
yeah, he didn't do anything at all. They're just making everything up. Ignore the fact that he's all over the internet in recent years bragging about everything he's accused of, basically. And the Matrix is coming after him because he called Israel the Matrix in the deep state. Finally, after years of never talking about it. Oh, do we have any more? I guess that's all I have of. Oh, I forgot Epstein to show this. The Dershowitz. No big deal, just hanging out with the Hubodnik that was the director of the documentary that he recorded with Alan Dershowitz. And he was involved with the court proceedings for Dershowitz and Epstein's case. No big deal. Dershowitz's lawyer that, of course, kept his underwear on. I'm sure we could totally trust Cernovich to give us the truth about Epstein. He only says you're an anti-Semitic idiot. Cernovich says, got his mail pickup. What looks interesting to you? What did he get? Oh, a shirt that says Mossad on it. And I'm not saying he is Mossad, but he might as well be. He also shilled the Chabad Lubavitch book once on Twitter. Yeah, he self-snitched. He's everything he's accused of that he's denying, he bragged about on the internet. He tweeted from that other old account stuff like he wants to come on Christian girls and lie to them and things like that. And then the Christians and the Muslims love him because he claims he believes in Jesus now. Just like Russell Brand, just like all these other new Jesus grifters. You want to be popular in Rumble and the MAGA movement? You shill Jesus. You shill Jesus because Christianity is kosher, and they either use you with your controlled opposition, retardation, Christian anti-Semitism, or they use you as Noahide slaves serving Israel. Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, has come to visit Trump today. All the world leaders are coming to bend the knee.
Pretty shy.
Yes, we can. We can. We will. Thank you.
Peace deal with Ukraine. Okay. John Garadas for 10. John, thank you, John. Glad to see somebody cares. Thank you. Appreciate you, John. Says show after show, Adam is slowly morphing into King Arthur with that curly hair. It's not even hardly curly right now. It's straight today. That's what's throwing me off. It was so curly last night by the end of the day. Now it's just like a big old wave. I feel like I'm Conan O'Brien or something. What was I going to show you? I was going to show the... Oh, where is it? The King Arthur. There it is. Yeah, give it a couple months. It'll be that length again. It grows fast. But yeah, that is what I deal with. The flop up, the King Arthur hair flipping up. You guys are killing me. Thank you, John. Okay. I like this one from 7C's. Really popular viral tweet. 27,000 likes. I'm going on his show next week. 7C's. He's got some new show on iconic David Icke's network. He says, you're not getting the Epstein list. You're not getting the real JFK files. You're not getting mass deportations. You're not getting arrest of politicians. You're not getting peace. You're not getting lower taxes. You never got the wall. Although they did claim that they're going to say no taxes on tips. That would be great because all of these super chat, all of these Rumble rants and super chats that I'm not getting right now are untaxed. So if Trump does that. You never got the wall. Hillary never went to jail. You got the vaccine and COVID scandemic. You got massive printing of money and rampant inflation. You got an Israel first administration. You got more vaccines, AI, bigger tech, bigger big tech. You're getting billion-dollar defense contracts, H-1B visas, and potentially the North American Union. Incompetent talking heads in power funded the same money you complain about getting funneled into U.S. aid. When does the winning start again? It's been 8 years. That one resonated. 28,000 views, and he doesn't even have that big of an account either. 13,000 followers. Good to see everybody else is seeing things this way. We did a big show a couple days ago with Big Tech about Elon and Grok and the black hole and AI singularity. And then now a clip surfaces of his wife or his ex-wife or baby mama, the musician. I think it's Leanne Grimes, something Grimes, discusses the decline of religion in a Time interview. And then she says that she wants to have an AI God, that we need an AI God. Elon said the same thing, that they're with this advanced AI, they are summoning a demon.
Everyone else has a shared morality, and like there's right and wrong, and it's sort of like built in this meaningful way, and there's moral instruction. Like we sort of, without religion, we haven't like filled the moral instruction with anything else. We're just like, hey, guess like what's good, And like I was talking to some Gen Z the other day, and she's like, oh yeah, I have a commitment kink, I have a breeding kink, and I'm like, I think you might just want to like get married and have kids. Like that's not a kid, that was normal.
Okay, would you rather, for the guys and the gals out there, would you rather Grimes or Ashley St. Clair?
Until like pretty recently. And yeah, there just aren't like built-in free things that people all do together as a community. And I think people are pretty spiritually lost, and a lot of people are like filling this need for like a moral authority with politics, which is leading to a lot of chaos, in my opinion. Like
secular people still celebrate Christmas, Halloween, New Year's, Thanksgiving in America. Grimes got them lips. She does. Yeah, I like that.
Because people are like, it's not just like who's going to govern the country. Okay. People are really seeing it as like.
I like her better as a blonde than in the famous photo they always show of her and Elon, like in all gothic black stuff. Prison Palace is a fan of Grimes. Is she your inspiration? Is that who you emulate? Isn't she a Viking too? She's from like Sweden or something.
This is what you believe, like, and depending which political thing you follow, that's what you believe. And like, it's very important that they maintain these sort of like strict moral boundaries, which makes it very hard to have like coalition agreement on anything. And yeah, just in general, I think this is. Wait, I don't know. I could go on and on about this, but it concerns me. So I don't know. Maybe we need some enlightened AI gods, perhaps. Everyone else has a shared
enlightened AI gods to replace Yahweh. Canadian? She's Canadian. Oh no, Prison Palace is a techno hoe. Is she a techno hoe? Is that what they're called? I never heard of that term. So think of this. I remember when they were giving all the attention. Trump gets in and the planes crash. There's this mysterious, is it a false flag? Is it, was it on purpose? Was it an accident? The female pilot of the helicopter went like beeline straight for the jet that was landing in the path where the jet was about to land. And I was like, what could be this? Can this be a conspiracy? And I'm not saying it is a conspiracy, but if it were, it would be for this. Elon Musk is now saying that the FAA and what is it? FAA Sky Traffic Control is a disaster, and he's going to come in and save it with Starlink. And he's going to get the big contract from Verizon for Starlink. The FAA is on the verge of canceling Verizon's bloated $2.4 billion contract and handing it to Starlink. How good for Elon. Oh, Prison Palace thinks that the airplane stuff is to bring autonomous AI self-driving planes. Could be that too. She was just a breeder for Elon because she's high IQ, white. They weren't even really together. Is that right? I know I saw that she tweeted the other day at Elon after the Ashley St. Clair thing. She tweeted that her kid is sick and Elon needs to like answer her calls or something like that. And she had to put him on blast on Twitter because he was ignoring her. SpaceX engineers are already fixing the FAA's mess. And then saying this isn't a conflict of interest. So how convenient for Elon now. What a coincidence. We have the plane situation, the FAA situation they're talking about so much. Makes you wonder, was all that all really just to justify this? Starlink taking over this big contract from Verizon. Because, if anybody needs more government contracts and more power and influence, it's definitely Elon. And what did Elon say here? He says, to be clear, the Verizon communication system to air traffic control is breaking down very rapidly. The FAA assessment is single-digit months to catastrophic failure, putting air traveler safety at serious risk. Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, flying's not safe anymore. He has to come in and Starlink has to save the day. Starlink terminals are being sent. Hey, just like who was in charge of flight traffic control and NORAD and FAA that allowed 9/11 to happen? I believe it was like ICTS and Converse, Amdocs. Wasn't it like Israeli connected companies that had to do with the security at the airports and that sort of thing? Anyway, if people were paranoid and you wanted to put on your tinfoil hat when the airplane and FAA stuff was happening everywhere all of a sudden, I think we might have got our answer as to what was behind all of that. Starlink, Skynet. Adam Green's bubble tea. No, it's actually a homemade matcha green tea. I think I overdid the coffee the last few days. I'm trying to mix it up. And this is an interesting one I found on YouTube a month ago. Carl Sagan, the scientist Carl Sagan, listen to this prediction he made 30 years ago about the future of America and technology. Completely nailed it.
30 years ago, Carl Sagan made a prediction for the future of the U.S., and I want you to tell me if you think it's coming true or not.
It's a foreboding I have, maybe ill-placed, of an America in my children's generation, or my grandchildren's generation, when all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when we're a service and information processing economy.
All that happened 30 years ago. I mean, 30 years ago was only 1995. Right?
Awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues. When the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or even to knowledgeably question those who do so, when there is no practice in...
People are so stupid they don't even know how to ask the right questions.
Who have lost the ability to set their own agendas or even to knowledgeably question those who do so.
They're so stupid they can't even actually question the paradigm in the ruling structure.
Interest.
It's very similar. It reminds me of what Marcus Eli Ravage said about the Goyim not even being smart enough to like accuse the Jews of the actual conspiracy of Christianity.
Powers are in the hands of a very few. When awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few. And
that's the one that he called the very most. All the technology in the hands of the very few. How can a small group of people control everybody with more technology? Is how they're able to do that.
No one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues. When the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or even to knowledgeably question those who do so. When there is no practice in questioning those in authority. When clutching our crystals.
Look at Alex Jones and his questioning of authority of Trump and Elon. Their predictions are actually their plans.
And religiously.
No, because Sagan died, so they obviously killed him because he was against it. He was exposing the New World Order, and they took him out.
Consulting our horoscopes.
He was exposing Christianity through science, and they couldn't allow that.
Physical faculties in steep decline, unable to distinguish between what's true and what feels good. We slide almost without notice into superstition and darkness.
Superstition and violence. There you go. Can't even figure out what's the truth. Not even smart enough to question the power structure. Preconditioning and programming. All of the power and technology consolidated in the hands of the few. Nailed it. Nailed it. Did I just see See Through It All in the chat? I don't know if he's still there, but here's a new See Through It All mix. I think we're just going to play the beginning, though, because We want to see this Dr. Michael Brown. What Dr. Michael Brown is. Cue the Christian Copes. Christian Copes incoming. Big time.
The Jewish movement. He is the savior of the world because he's Israel's Messiah. If he failed to be Israel's Messiah, he could not be the savior of the world. Is it just too Jewish for people? Does it make them uncomfortable because it underscores the Jewish roots of the faith?
Too Jewish for me. You nailed it, Dr. Brown. Christianity, way too Jewish for me. I like my religions to have no Judaism, no chosen people of Israel. Thanks, guys. I prefer my religions to have nothing to do with Jews.
Forget about it.
He is the savior of the world because he's Israel's Messiah. If he failed to be Israel's Messiah, he could not be the savior of the world. Is it just too Jewish for people? Does it make them uncomfortable because it underscores the Jewish roots of the faith? Or that if they ran into Jesus in the first century, he would have looked more like a traditional Jew than...
Thanks, I'll pass on the Jewish blood magic and the Jewish covenants and the foreskin clipping covenant. Sorry, not for me. I'll pass.
So like a Catholic priest or a Protestant pastor? It shouldn't trouble you. It's just historical reality. It's how God brought salvation. John 4:22, Jesus said salvation was from the Jews.
What Paul is asking of his ethne in Christ is a form of Judaizing. If by Judaizing we use what the ancient term means, which is somebody who's not a Jew, who's starting to do some Jewish things. And the Jewish things that Paul is insisting that his listeners do is worship only the God of Israel. That's a very Jewish thing.
Worshipping only the God of Israel is the most Jewish thing you can do. Christians. I'm looking at you, Christians.
Idols. He's Judaizing his Gentiles. I think they become eschatological Gentiles.
Judaizing those Gentiles. That was Paul's agenda, to Judaize the Gentiles when he created Christianity. That's what you are.
Starting to do some Jewish things, and the Jewish things that Paul is insisting that his listeners do is worship only the God of Israel. That's a very Jewish thing. No idols. He's Judaizing his Gentiles. I think they become eschatological Gentiles.
Oh, I just forgot. Hold on. I need to do the Cernovich thing was uploading. Where's that? There it is. 100%. Post. Okay. Sorry.
Type of Gentiles who are available as narrative characters in Isaiah, and those passages of they're Gentiles who have or the Gentiles you see in Tobit who smash their idols and turn to.
They wanted to get the Goyim to smash their own idols and worship the God of Israel. I wonder how they did that. I wonder how they accomplished that Jewish goal. Duh, with Christianity and Islam.
To God. Christianity as a separate thing from Judaism isn't something Paul never knew.
But Paul himself, despite the rhetoric of Galatians, is...
Based Indian for you for 20 says, hey, Adam, enjoy your show. Have you tried to get back on Stu Peters or on Jake Shields' podcast? They are kosher gatekeepers, and they can't handle questioning Jesus. So no, and no, I'm not trying to get on their shows. I think it's pretty well established by now that they're part of the Abrahamic echo chamber controlled opposition paradigm, where they can't even question the magical fictional Jew that's led to the largest religion in the world. So no. I don't even want to. You think that I would enjoy a conversation with either one of those guys?
Judaizing these Gentiles. He's teaching them a kind of Judaism light. How do we know this? He's talking about the Messiah, and he's talking about exclusive allegiance to the God of Israel. That's Jewishness. And it's Paul who's beginning to create a new population, but it's a population that was anticipated in the classical prophets and in all those Jewish apocalyptic writings we have between -200 and +200. Tobit, the Sibylline oracles, where you have the nations who are pagan, smashing their idols and turning to worship the God of Israel. Where the energy is coming from, I think, for Paul's mission, the energy is coming from for these prophetic declarations in Jewish tradition that everybody is going to get with the program and worship the God of Israel at the end of time. The God of Israel is an ethnic God. It's just that he's going to do this amazing act of cross-ethnic outreach.
So the Jew here, let me put it simply for the Christians, okay? Get the Jews getting the Goyim to abandon their ethnic gods and worship the Jewish ethnic God is how their whole goal to begin with to rule the world. And you facilitate that for them. You fulfill their prophecies by believing in their prophecies. Their prophecies are fulfilled.
When he declares his universal sovereignty, but he's also the God of Jewish history. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's the God of Israel. You don't have a genealogical connection with Israel's God. You have a covenantal adoption with Israel's God. And he's also combating pagan gods, whom Jesus is going to defeat when he comes back. He's sort of like establishing a beachhead against these pagan gods, and Jesus is going to destroy them in 1 Corinthians 15, or he's going to humble them in Philippians 2, all those superhuman knees above the earth, upon the earth, and below the earth that bend to Jesus. So Jesus is going to take care of the pagan gods, but Paul's already defying the God of this world.
Jesus is going to take care of the pagan gods, and that was the Jewish plan. And the main Jewish objective. And then the Christians go, yeah, we hate those pagans. Yeshua HaMashiach, King of Kings, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Son of the God of Israel. Yeah, they're for him. They're so gullible dupes.
Who's blinded the mind of unbelievers in 2 Corinthians 4:4. So he's fighting pagan gods in order to take his message to pagans and turn them into ex-pagans.
It's one of the ones I've used in my debates. All the nations, all the Goyim shall turn and fear the Lord God truly and shall bury their idols. That's the whole goal. And they say, and he did, it's true, Jesus got the pagans to bury their idols. Read the Darkening Age. Christian mobs went around and destroyed all the statues of European history and all the pagan philosophical books. This is what it is. Theological conquest of the Goyim. That's the conspiracy. That's what Candace Owens should be pointing out. You see, these Abrahamic matrix gatekeepers instead are not arguing against apocalyptic messianic Judaism. They argue for their own version of it that was created and given to them by Jewish sects, based on all of the Jewish foundations.
He's Judaizing.
He's Judaizing the ethnic. Yeah.
Judaizing the Goyim.
Actually,
it's a type of Jewish outreach. It's a type of, he's doing a type of Jewish outreach, but he's.
Yeah, they always say, oh, Judaism doesn't proselytize. Yeah, they do. What do you think the Noahide laws are? What do you think the first Christians were doing? Proselytizing Messianic Judaism to the Gentiles to fulfill their prophecies. That's the conspiracy, the Messianic conspiracy. And what does Paul say in Romans 15:12? As Isaiah said, there shall be in Isaiah 11, there shall be a root of Jesse, and that shall rise to reign over the Gentiles. In him shall the Gentiles trust. You want a verse proving what Christianity is about? Saul the Pharisee. Right, yeah, and the Darkening Age talks about how Christians destroyed the statues just like the woke mobs do today. Christianity was the original woke Jewish mob. They were the original Antifa, basically. See, like Uber Boyo's big video, and that the Messiah is meant to reign over the Gentiles, make the Gentiles his footstool, bring judgment and obedience to the Gentiles, a rule in the land of thine enemies, i.e. the Gentiles. Oh, they total the issue. They took what began as a Jewish idea and can't watch myself anymore. But good job on that, dude. I've noticed. These edits, we're getting more and more shadow banned, and I think some of why it's happening is because all of these Christians, even ones that like have no followings, that I have no idea who they are. I'll go through Twitter and I'll just notice so many people, small accounts, small anonymous accounts with no followings will have me blocked, and all of those add up and ding me on algorithm. So systematically suppressing by blocking, even though I never harassed or don't even know who these people are. They still see my stuff even if I'm blocked, so they're not hiding it, blocking because they don't want to see it. They block, and they have block lists to game the system to suppress people that are actually exposing Yahweh and Judaism. And in all of its branches, which include Christianity and Islam. Here, Christian Cope's incoming. Here's some more. Here's how your average Republican talks with gay Jew, Reuben, and I'm forgetting this guy's name right now. He's like an anti-communist guy.
Both Judeo and
James Lindsay.
Both Judeo and Christian. In fact, the Christians can get a little worked up about this, but my opinion is that Jesus brought the Jewish model to the Gentiles, right? And so the Judeo-Christian model ethics, the way they think through problems, the way that they deal with one another, how they order and structure society, I think are actually very, very profoundly good. I
think they're profoundly not great. Not great, actually awful. Many of them. Not all completely, but all in all. And again, what do we get? What is the opposition? Just the same failed talking points because they're wrong, they're lies, crying about Judeo-Christian, the term Judeo-Christian, ignoring of what it actually entails, that Christianity and Judaism share a foundation of the Old Testament, that Christianity began as a sect of Judaism, of Messianic Judaism. Like, you can't say Christianity is not Judeo when Jesus is the king of Judah that sits on the throne of Judah. They'll just kick the can down the road and go in circles, and it gets us nowhere with their stupid failed talking points is Jesus wasn't a Jew and there's no such thing as Judeo-Christian, and the Jews aren't even really Jews, they're fake Jews, and they don't even follow the Torah. Like, if you can't understand and comprehend that the Torah is the root of Jewish identity and the Jewish prophetic agenda, you want to blame the Talmud but never the Torah, you don't get it. You're part of the problem. You're not helping the situation. You're exasperating the situation.
Christian, in fact.
All right, we heard that. Now, listen to this. This guy, this huge channel, this huge podcaster, I forget his name right now, but he's the one that was doing the death of somebody. Oh, I forget. It'll come to me.
So before,
but listen, look at these Christian. This is the stuff that the YouTube algorithm puts right in front of me every single time.
Before Adam and Eve, where did the angels come from?
Before the created matter of the universe, the stuff that we can touch, he created all the angels in one single moment. And Aquinas writes a lot about this. But he had to give them away.
I wish we could just be serious people. And then Harry Potter and then the Sith Lord did that to the Jedi. Like, this is what this sounds like to me.
To test their allegiance. And so this plan of God with man was kind of in some way leaked or shown. And that's when they said, we will not serve this cause. A third of them, we think. But we know Lucifer fell for sure. That's written in the Bible. Revelation
for sure. Because the Bible, we know that for sure. How do you know that?
I read about it in a book.
Written by Jews. Thank you, Stacia. Stacia for 10 means a lot, Stacia. Every dollar helps, guys. Sure, you know the struggle out there. Money Music, you have your own version of Jesus. Is it baby Jesus or is it Jesus in the tuxedo? Yeah, this is like the former Navy SEAL guy, right? Who was the guy that died? There was like, he was in the news recently for something.
Took a third of the stars with him. And these luminaries we assume to be the angels. Incredibly intelligent, incredibly powerful beings, but they don't have bodies. Pure spirit, just like God.
Sean Ryan, CIA grifter, is what Cracked Out says.
Then he creates all of us, and we're kind of a hybrid because we're not pure matter, but we're not pure spirit. We are both matter and spirit. So we're unique in that way, in the way nothing else in creation is like us.
Yeah, we're like hybrid angels, because like I've got a really big cross around my neck, and I wear all black with a little white thing on my collar. And I'm like talking about exorcisms and demons and heaven and hell because I'm a totally serious person. When Beardson said, do you think you're fundamentally smarter than St. Aquinas? Yeah, and that's the stupid shit he believes. Right. Yeah, actually we are.
We know there was a war in heaven, and Lucifer, the most brilliant and the most beautiful of the angels, rebelled because of the plan for the Son, the Word, to become flesh. And he was horrified that God would lower himself to our nature. And so he said, I will not serve. And he was cast out with his minions. And
totally real.
Became the fallen angels, the demons.
This is like a Dragon Ball Z plot. This is so obviously an ancient comic book. What's the proof of this? Oh, some ancient Jews said so. Okay.
And they were cast down to earth. Soon thereafter, Eve encountered the serpent, and that was the beginning of our demise. And so this is not mythical. This is fact. The devil is a real person.
This is not mythical. Yeah, it is. Oh, I guess so. Oh, and this is Daily Wire interviewing him now too. Yeah. We're such a joke. We're so kosher. So kosher, so conquered, so Jewish, so pathetic, so disgraceful.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Our demise. And so this is not mythical. This is fact. The devil is a real person, having a will and an intellect. He's a spirit, but he's a person. What you said is true, that he used to be very hidden and he used to be very subtle. And it should worry people that he's suddenly not worried about being seen. Because that means people would deduct from that is that he realizes that his reign is coming to a close and he's using everything he has now to try to drag as many people down with him so we can be miserable in hell too.
Totally real. Where do demons go?
Where does the demon go?
Don't know. When we actually are casting things out, we send.
Oh, he's an exorcist, of course. Yeah, let's interview this exorcist. And they're like, oh, there's nothing they hate more. Everybody's Christian. There's a church at the center of every city. It's the most popular institutional establishment dominant religion of the last 1700 years. So many more people are brainwashed by this shit. And this is just crazy viral shorts. The algorithm's just pumping to people.
The feet of Jesus for him to do what he wants with. The last place they want to go is back to hell because they will be horribly.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Conspiracy truth. Yeah, YouTube bans me, but then, there's nothing they hate more than Jesus. They ban my channels and then leave up videos accusing, slandering me and defaming me. And then I get banned for exposing Zionism and Christianity. And then this is pumped millions of views in everybody's algorithms. But there's nothing they hate more, right?
I want to say tortured, but tortured by the devil because they failed their mission.
Now here he is with Jordan Peterson. So now we see that other guy, the crossover with this guy and Daily Wire, and then now Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson talking about prophecy. Look at how he tries to shill the Bible as it's magical, as if it's hard to self-reference other books.
The lecture that you gave about how the Bible...
Stu and Jay Dyer are re-monetized on YouTube, by the way. Of course. Of course. I'm surprised to hear that about Stu, but not for Dyer.
References itself approximately 65,000 times, and you had a great visual, which...
Yeah, it's a great visual, eh?
It was very captivating, and could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, the first thing we could say is that the Bible is the world's first hyperlinked text, because many of the verses refer to many other verses. And that means it's a very complicated text because you can find your way through it many, many ways. Like the more...
This makes it hard for writing my book, actually. There's so many connections and so many different rabbit holes you can go down and get sidetracked on. But they all are important to reveal the conspiracy. Thank you, Watcher, for 20. Appreciate you, Watcher. Most people think Mormons are mental case cult members but can't see the ridiculousness of mainstream Christianity with the same issues because it's more ancient, so it must be true. Yeah, like they'll be like, yeah, Mormons, they're a cult, but like as if Christianity's not. Yeah, they're crazy. They believe in magical underwear. It's like, dude, normal Christians believe that grape juice turns into literal blood of Jesus. They're drinking the blood in a blood magic ritual and dipping themselves in water thinking that their sins are forgiven.
A text is cross-referenced, the more pathways through it there are. And you can imagine that explodes exponentially. You might say, well, what does a Bible verse mean? And the answer is, well, it means whatever it means in reference to all of its cross-references. And then each of those cross-references has cross-references.
It means it's out of context, and it doesn't mean what you think it means if it's ever anything bad.
It's a web. It's a web of meaning, a very complex web of meaning.
All right. So then that segues into this. This is the viral one. 4.4 thousand views. Silence. No aim, no gain tagged me on this and said, do your thing. Let's watch. Can guarantee what it's about.
You gotta watch this video.
The Bible's not a book.
Yeah, bro. You gotta. Dude, does he have toilet paper on his head? What the hell is that? Toilet paper headband?
Watch this video.
The Bible's not a
Yo, bro, you gotta watch this video. Yo, Jesus fulfilled mad prophecies, bro.
You gotta watch this video.
The Bible's not a book. The Bible's 66 books. 40 different people wrote it. Over 1,500 years. There's never been a book like that in history. Does that make it the Word of God? No. It just means it's worth considering. For hundreds of years, archaeology has used the Old Testament and New to find buildings, to find people, to find civilizations, to find kings.
Not find people. Some places and people were written about. That's nothing surprising about that.
The Old Testament and New to find buildings, to find people, to find civilizations, to find kings that didn't exist or they didn't think they did, and suddenly the Bible said they're there, and they dug it up, and there it was. Does that make it the Word of God? No. It means it's historically accurate. Real people really existed and really wrote down what they saw. It's worth considering.
Having some things that are accurate in the Bible does not mean that all of it is accurate. Is that Dennis Leary?
And a man showed up one day named Jesus, and he fulfilled all 300 prophecies. That's impossible. We know that the first Greek translation of the Old Testament was done 250 years before Jesus.
It's impossible. There's no way we could have this story where a character fulfills 300 prophecies. It's impossible. It's magical. They made it up. They knew the prophecies. They had the scriptures, and they made up a story to fulfill them. That the whole idea and inspiration came from cherry picking and quote mining what they saw as the divine scriptures. How is this so obvious to me and us, but then retards online say it and it goes crazy viral and all the Christians just eat it up? I don't get it. Even Jay Dyer goes, oh, the best evidence is all the prophecies were fulfilled. It's like they lied to, it's fake prophecy fulfillment. That's where it came from. You need to buy me a bonnet? I might need to. Maybe that'll fix my my waves.
300 prophecies. That's impossible.
I think I'd rather have my hair, though, than Dennis Leary here.
And he fulfilled all 300 prophecies. That's impossible. We know that the first Greek translation of the Old Testament was done 250 years before Jesus was born. How could they possibly know that he'd be born? And how could they possibly know he was going to be crucified when crucifixions didn't even exist as a capital punishment yet? How could they know that he'd be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver 250 years before there was a Jesus? Does it make it the Word of God? No. But
here's an idea. Maybe, just maybe, they made it up. And what did they use as inspiration for the story they made up? The prophecies. Again, this is like such a simple, easy to understand, like parlor trick, like pulling the rabbit out of the hat. It's not hard to fulfill prophecies in Scripture when you know all the prophecies in Scripture.
it's starting to get close. And then Jesus said he would fulfill these things and did miraculous things to prove I'm not just a guy talking like everybody else. Look what I've done.
And how do you know Jesus really fulfilled all those prophecies? What's your proof?
I read about it in a book.
Read about it in a book.
And then he said this, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm I'm going to die, and I'm going to come back to life. Nobody ever done that. And he died. And all those who were with him for 3 years ran in fear. And they ran away, and they said, I guess we were wrong. And then something happened. Something happened that made all these guys come back and be willing to be martyred for one reason. They said this: I saw him die, and I saw him come back. If we all die and there is no God, it's just eternal intelligence.
And then the martyr lie. The myth of martyrdom, the myth of persecution, when there was really just a little bit of prosecution and made up stories of martyrdom. Oh, no other religions ever had a martyr before. That's totally not a theme for religions.
But if you're wrong, you'll know forever. It's not a gamble anybody should take.
So amazed by the prophecies. I'm so sick of seeing these videos. Like, usually it's like, it's a physical impossibility. The chances and the odds of one man fulfilling 300 prophecies is 0.0000000000666. That's what they do. And it's just like, dude, yeah, we know. You think a magical superhero walked around just trying to check all these boxes and is like, I'm going to fulfill this prophecy next. Yeah, debate prophecy. Is it fiction? They don't want to do that, though. They'll be like, no, we got to do the transcendental bullshit. No, you got to, I'm just going to get hung up on the fact that you can't say my God's not real without admitting that my God is real. Checkmate, Goyam. And then the Christians love the go-to argument that they always do. I've talked about on the show. I see it all the time. The even Bart Ehrman says fallacy. The fallacious argument, what they're doing here by citing Bart Ehrman, who I can guarantee you this guy that just posted this Bart Ehrman clip, he has not read Bart Ehrman's book or any of his books, Did Jesus Exist? Or several of his other books that I've read as well. He hasn't read Richard Carrier and Earl Doherty and Bart Ehrman and the Quest for the Historical Jesus, written by a bunch of different scholars debunking his book. They haven't read Historicity of Jesus that completely debunks and way better arguments than Bart Ehrman's book. They haven't read the PhD dissertation by Raphael Litaster that focuses on debunking Bart Ehrman's book. They just appeal to Bart Ehrman. They go, even the secular Bart Ehrman says. So this is a double fallacy. It's a fallacy on top of a fallacy. It's a fallacy to just say, oh, all the scholars agree, and you're a conspiracy theorist. It's total cover-up and op, Jack Stone. You're a conspiracy theorist, and all the scholars agree, and the consensus is Jesus existed, and you're a flat earther and a Holocaust. Bart Ehrman says you're a Holocaust denier if you say Jesus didn't exist. That's what he compares it to. So it's the appeal to Bart Ehrman's appeal to authority fallacy. Double fallacy. Not to mention that it's weird. I was doing Twitter advanced search to try to find stuff. I couldn't find anything from posts I know I did. But Bart Ehrman was trained, all of his biblical studies were at theological institutions. His mentors were evangelical Christians.
That is.
I do not see evidence in archaeology or history for a historical Jesus.
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, that's why I wrote the.
And what does he do? He makes up hypothetical sources and claims that they're all independent and not mythical.
Look. Well, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, I have a whole book on it. I mean, so there is.
And the book is awful. The book makes awful arguments like, oh, the Jews would never invent a crucified Messiah. Yeah, they would. They absolutely would, and they did, and that's what happened.
A lot of evidence. I mean, there's so much evidence that...
And that's a lie. There's not a lot of evidence. There's literally like no good evidence at all.
It is not, I mean, I know in the crowds you all run around with, it's commonly thought that Jesus did not exist. Let me tell you, once you get outside of your...
Oh, you internet crowds, you internet conspiracy crowds, all the real scholars that work for theological seminaries and went to Moody Bible Institute and Princeton Theological Seminary, and all the Christians I learned under, they all don't question that Jesus existed. They've been covering up that Jesus didn't exist with this same cover-up tactic for God knows how long, for probably 1,700 years, when the early Christians would burn all the critics of Christianity in their books.
Enclave, there's nobody who, I mean, this is not even an issue for scholars of antiquity. It is not an issue for scholars.
It's a lie. It's a lie. There's always been books written about Jesus being a myth. There's no good books written about him existing, actually. And none of the books can agree on who Jesus really was.
There is no scholar in any college or university in the Western world who teaches classics, ancient history.
And they won't hire you if you're smeared with the Jesus mythicist label. And this is not an argument. This is not an, what's the proof? Where's the good evidence? He doesn't give it. He just he goes to the appeal to the authority and appeal to the consensus fallacy. The consensus that was created and has still been maintained by Christians.
New Testament, early Christianity, any related field who doubts that Jesus existed. Now, that is not evidence. That is not evidence.
Hey, yo, somebody just finally picked up all the slack for the stream today. Black, is that how you say your name? Black? Black, thank you so much for the huge dono.
Yes!
Oh, you just lifted my spirits. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, all right, all right.
Says, glad to see you again on AM Wake Up with Steve. I've been watching you pretty regularly for 3 years, and you've helped me synthesize and put into words a lot of what I already knew about Abrahamic monotheism. That's a good point. I think it's that way with a lot of followers, a lot of listeners. Grew up Mormon. You grew up Mormon. Keep it up. Your work is important. First time dono. Thank you so much. So great to hear. I love the first time donos from new supporters that get it, that are on the level. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Because everybody thinks so doesn't make it evidence. But if you want to know about the theory of evolution versus the theory of creationism, and every scholar in every reputable institution in the world believes in evolution, it may not be evidence.
Dude, the schools that mostly hire, they make you sign faith contracts, statements of faith for a lot of these universities. This is also like a veiled threat that if you question if Jesus existed, if you question his body of work, his number of best-selling New York Times books, making his whole career on who the real historical Jesus is, if you do that, you're not getting hired anywhere. It's like almost like a threat. And a lot of scholars have called him out. He goes, if you want to know the truth about Jesus, you need to go to the SBL, the Society for Biblical Literature, that's made up of a ton of Christians and was founded by Christians. Sorry, but if you want to know the truth about if Jesus existed, Christians shouldn't even be in the conversation.
But if you've got a different opinion, you better have a pretty good piece of evidence yourself. The reason for thinking Jesus existed is because he is abundantly attested in early sources.
What, by Paul, who never knew him? By all the earliest sources, like Paul's letters and Hebrews and Jude and James and Peter, aren't describing a historical figure at all. It's a mythical, divine, celestial angel figure from Scripture.
That's why. And I give the details.
Josephus and Tacitus are late and not independent. And Josephus is a forgery, even. The earliest reference to Jesus is a Christian forgery. Christianity is built on forgeries. And guess who wrote the book on Christianity being built on forgeries? This guy. He literally wrote a book about how so much of it's forgery.
In my book, early and independent sources indicate that certainly that Jesus existed. One author that we know about knew Jesus' brother.
He's talking about, I have a chapter on this in my book. Paul mentions one time in his letter, James, the brother of the Lord, which is just probably a title for a spiritual group of Christians. He doesn't act like James is the brother. The book of James in the Bible doesn't identify himself as the brother. We have other Apocrypha texts saying that it means spiritual brother. There's so many reasons to think that that's not a reference to him. Paul always uses brother and sister of the Lord referencing Christians. See, this is the best argument he has, and I'm able to rip it to pieces off the cuff.
And knew Jesus' closest disciple, Peter. He's an eyewitness to both Jesus' closest.
Paul doesn't even ever talk about them ever being with Jesus or saying like they were with Jesus at this time. He only talks about Jesus appearing to them post-resurrection. And Paul so adamantly argues that he didn't know Jesus, he didn't learn about him from any man, and that he only knew him in revelation and scripture, which implies that that's how any apostle to have authority knew about Jesus. Thank you, Pure Blood. $5 challenge for the chat. Come on, peeps, don't be Jewish. Come out them pockets. Come on, guys. $5 is like a coffee. Just a few more of you, $5 makes a huge difference for these streams. We're going on 4 days in a row. Yeah, you're not allowed to question the consensus. The consensus has never been wrong before. Just a few decades ago, the consensus had always been that Moses was real. And now the consensus is that it's not. Yo, Nazi Dice for 5 says, I'm about to start working on a track you can use for an intro outro. Oh, cool. Downloaded 30 pagan instrument sounds to my studio app. Oh, wow, it's going to be awesome. No time guarantees, just quality Viking badassery when finished. Can't wait to hear it. Wait to hear it, Dice. Send me the email when it's ready.
His disciple and his brother. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but, again, I respect your disbelief, but
Paul says he learned nothing. They added nothing to his message. The other apostles added nothing to his message, but they were the best friend and brother of Jesus, and they couldn't add anything to his message. Paul never knew Jesus, but he was able to argue with them that he had authority on what Christianity should be. You think that would have ever flied if it was really James, the brother of the Lord, and Cephas or Peter, his best friend? No. And he just goes like, oh, you knew the brother, so it's like, if you don't agree with that, you're just like dumb.
If you want to go...
Thank you, Stacia. I will not have a coffee on you because coffee is expensive and I don't buy it out. I will buy some coffee filters with that, Stacia. So it will go to coffee. See Through It All says that he's been through the New Testament. Paul doesn't quote anything from Jesus that wasn't from Old Testament scripture. Exactly.
Where the evidence goes, I think that atheists have done themselves a disservice by jumping on the bandwagon of mythicism, because, frankly, it makes you look foolish to the outside world.
Only because of you, because you make that claim. Christians cite you. This is the Christian's favorite scholar to cite. It's literally every single time. You can go do an advanced search on Twitter and do even Bart Ehrman says. And that's what they, every time in the threads when I'll say, I'll post a video, I'll show some evidence, I'll show some material on Jesus being a myth. And they'll say, even Bart Ehrman says, like he's just the God. Yeah, foolish to idiots. For the bonnet fun, Orson, thank you.
If that's what you're going to believe, you just look foolish. You are much better off going with historical evidence and arguing.
What historical evidence?
Historically, rather than...
He makes up hypothetical sources that are completely unnecessary and then claims that we can't criticize, that we can't see if it actually describes a historical figure. Dude, it's so bad. He makes me so angry that he's able to get away with this.
Than coming up with the theory that Jesus didn't exist.
How are we on time? Okay, John's new mix, Engineers of the Apocalypse. Let's do short one first. Hold on. Here's Eric the Red's new mix.
The longer I'm a Christian, the more Jewish I become. The longer I'm a Christian, the more Jewish I become.
There's zero historical evidence, zero eyewitness evidence, nothing outside of the Bible, nothing contemporary to when Jesus lived. Zorn Der Edom 420 says, well-deserved tithing, been very busy. You've been killing it in the last few streams. Thank you. P.S. I'm a San Diego native. Well, hello, neighbor. Oh, daughter, family just got home. Shroud of Turin, bro. I know. Yeah, there's your archaeological evidence.
I become. That the longer I'm a Christian, the more Jewish I become.
So kosher. Do you guys ever get tired of it? Do you ever get tired of the L's? And the copes, the main Christian cope is always, they're not a real Christian. That's not real Christianity. They seem pretty real to me. The power of Christian Zionism is very real. The Christianity that is dominant and mainstream and has all the power, it's very real power that the Zionists have. All the influence that Israel gets and all the money and all of the defense and shielding that Christians give Israel, that is very real. A gift bag? You want to come say hi real quick? She's so shy. They want to see you and say hi. Come here. Come here. All right. A little camera shy. Sorry. She is getting a little old, though, where I shouldn't be showing her anymore.
Which is really...
All right, here we go. John Garadas. Let's see it.
Gog and Magog is only supposed to take 12 minutes. And for 250 years, no one understood what type of war would be over in 12 minutes. Now, unfortunately, we know exactly what type of war could be over in 12 minutes. That would be a nuclear war. But there are descriptions in Zechariah. It talks about people's flesh melting on their bones. Wow. Which is really a description of nuclear holocaust.
I guess Gog will be the leader of all this group, the nations that come against Israel. And I'm bringing you to the land of Israel. Over there will be your destruction. I'm going to send fire to Magog. 7 years the fire will not stop. 7 years.
Oh, hold on. We got a breaking news. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says, I nor the task force were given or reviewed the Epstein documents being released today. A New York Post story. Oh, shady shit's going on. So whatever they released to DC Drano and these libs of TikTok and Cernovich, it was not part of her review and task force. So we got some under the table shit going on. Yo, John Garadas for 2 or 13 to get us to 200. That Engineers of the Apocalypse is an old mix. I made a new one with you, Adam. I think this one's epic. Okay, well, good. We'll play this one instead. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and complete disappointment. Get us the information we asked for. This is all bullshit. I even think this is theater. Oh, they're really getting to the bottom of it. Look, they're even fighting over it. I don't believe this for 1 second. All right, here's the new mix with me in it. Is this? Oh, this. Does he not get that? Oh, I don't want to just listen to just myself right now, John. Jews exonerated, Epstein files. Yeah. If we know anything about the Epstein files, is that there will be no Jews involved. No Mossad connection. Sorry, John. I don't want to watch just myself talk right now. I shared it and retweeted it, and I appreciate it, but I want to watch this mix of the rabbis. Let us know what we're up against, what the Christians are getting us sucked into by LARPing along and dancing along to the beat of the Jewish drum and believing these prophecies.
Everywhere will be burning for 7 years. It said 2/3 of the world will die. If you have 7 billion today, you are talking 4.5 billion people will die. 4.5 billion. How does it happen? Only with atomic war. There's no other way to kill so many people. But the Vilna Gaon already said 250 years ago that the last war really will be 9 minutes. Of course, it's going to be 7 years, everything will be burning.
And the Gaon of Vilna explained that the war of Gog and Magog, the final stage, will be only 12 minutes. The Western nation, the Christian.
Yeah, I'd rather hear these phlegm spitting rabbis bob up and down, talk about destroying the world, and listen to myself talk about Lucas Gage burning the Talmud but not criticizing the Torah.
Nations and the Islamic world will have.
You know what? See through it all. The reason he says it is so insane that this religion gets no scrutiny. You know what it is? Jews don't get more scrutiny because they're overshadowed in most people's minds and attention with Christianity and Islam. Christianity, if it weren't for Christianity and Islam, they wouldn't be getting away with this shit. But because there's so many wacky Christians that believe all the same shit, most people just think, oh, those crazy Christians and Muslims. And Jews aren't even on their radar. So they don't get more scrutiny because the Christians and the Muslims believe their versions of the same wacky shit. It like runs cover for them.
Feud among themselves.
Trump's apparently keeping the war with Ukraine going as of right now.
The script has already been written. Gog and Magog, which is the last final war, where there will be Avnei el-Gavish, as the prophet says, raining down on the enemy. Avnei el-Gavish are meteorites. The war of Gog and Magog is the last war. It's a final war. It's after the battles and the problems with the Persian king. And that is a war against the Jews alone. That is a war where all the nations will gang up on us. And why will they gang up on us? They will gang up to take away Yerushalayim from us. So what that means is that not everyone will survive. And as I said earlier, of the entire world's population, 2/3 will disappear. And when we say that, we mean everyone, even amongst us.
First off, before Mashiach comes, there's going to be a war called Gog and Magog, the war of all wars. This war is going to the prophet Zechariah, chapter 14. If anyone wants to get really, really scared, go to the prophet Zechariah, chapter 14. It describes a nuclear war that destroys the world. It tells you how people are going to melt, the eyes are going to spill like liquid. So the point is that Zechariah says that this war initially is going to destroy 2/3 of the population. So you have 8 billion people in the world. Right off the bat, 6 billion, a gun.
We're told that nations will go to war against Jerusalem. These nations will fail. They will be destroyed. They're described in detail in these two books, Ezekiel 38 and 39, and Zechariah, just the last chapter. The war is going to be two parts.
Check this out. I'm just looking at some of the latest breaking stuff. Laura Loomer says there are no Epstein files. The binders are props. Every single one of those right-wing paid influencers lied to all of you today. They engage in deception to run cover for pedophiles. They posted selfies with prop binders. Liars and deceivers.
Parts, two nations or two corporations of nations that will go to war against Yerushalayim, and they will be.
Yeah, this whole we're gonna release the list so they can put everybody back to sleep, and all the dumb MAGA Q people can think Trump took down the pedophile cabal, and it's gonna be total limited hangout cover up is what it's gonna be. And the list and Epstein's connections are like many of them are already known, and then like the media and everybody's ignoring it. Like it's been known, the Mossad connections have been known for years, and Dan Bongino will still get on Tim Pool and be like, well, some country in the Middle East, I don't know which one. You think they've been covering this up for a decade, and all of a sudden the Zionists are gonna give you the truth about Epstein and Mossad connections? How dumb and gullible and desperate for a W do you think people have to be?
Utterly destroyed.
Did I miss another super chat?
Well, the interesting thing about it is that there will be a war, which is predicted in Ezekiel.
Pure Blood says maybe the big reveal will be the truth about Israel being involved in JFK, 9/11, and the Jews will return to Israel like the prophecies and rabbis say. That could be. I'm glad you said that, Pure Blood, because watching this video and them all talk about the nations turning against them and America betraying them and evil Trump and Elon being the new Hitler, Edom, Antichrist figures. That would be something that would get the whole world to turn against them if there was something in the Epstein and JFK files linking it to Israel. That would, which is sad that even if that does get revealed, that would basically be the only reason it got revealed.
Kill 38, 39, that it's called the War of Gog and Magog, or in English, Gog and Magog, I think. That war is a messianic war. It's a war against the Mashiach and the Jews, because the nations of the world realize that the truth has arrived and that their time is over. And this will be the last attempt to recapture Israel and try to restore their former glory. Then at that war, the Mashiach, when David arrives, that's when he comes in. He enters the stage and he wipes them all out.
Just one match can ignite a world war, and it can start from Europe.
Dude, this rabbi looks straight out of like a Nazi propaganda film. Doesn't he? I don't think I've ever seen a rabbi that looks more like a propaganda anti-Semitic trope. Oh my God.
Against the Muslims. Millions of Muslims want to conquer France and Germany, but God is bringing them back. It's all happening. The nations will kill each other and we will die. You come say.
He said the nations will kill each other.
And it can start from Europe. They are Christians against the Muslims. Millions of Muslims want to conquer France and Germany, but God is bringing them back. It's all happening. The nations will kill each other and we will remain. You come say, it is possible for every bomb to be targeted to hit a non-Jew and not a Jew.
Every bomb's going to hit a Jew, a non-Jew and not the Jews. $5 from Tupacabra. Tupacabra, that's funny. I convinced my dad of the problem with Jewish power back in 2018, to which his knee-jerk reaction was to lean into Steven Anderson-style Christianity. Yep, right in the dialectic, right in the Christian-controlled-op dialectic. He's regressed and constantly tries to convert me. Now I'm slowly building my rhetoric to show him how fake this schizophrenic bullshit truly is. This is what I always say, right, guys? Like at the end of the show, I say educate yourselves so that you can educate others. If your dad is open to listening, I would say get him to watch my playlist, probably. Jesus Deception playlist. Or like the pin video on my Twitter, the Moshiach conspiracy.
There's a war of Gog and Magog. First one, as the Chafetz Chaim said, was 100 years ago, World War I. Second one was World War II. And we're on the cusp of the third one. But the purpose of all of these wars, of the Gog and Magog wars, to get everything into its correct order. To bring the Jewish people, to raise us up to the point where we are potentially supposed to be the spiritual leaders of the world, as well as the physical leaders of the world.
We need the remaining nations of Esav and Ishmael to fight it out over Israel. We need the remainder of those two to then join forces and bring everyone that's left to Israel to try and destroy Mashiach and the chosen people.
Isn't it so funny how they like ask for our support? Like we have to defend them. All these Shabbos goys like Dan Bongino are like, oh, my favorite. What's near and dear to my heart? Defending Israel, Bongino said the other day. And then the rabbis are like, yes, America must come and wage war with Islam and be destroyed. And they're like, oh, and then they go, we're defending Western civilization.
This is Gog and Magog. All these things they're going to develop into World War III. Remember the Vilna Gaon almost 300 years ago. He said that the final war would take place, it would take between 7 and 12 minutes. But this is sure hinted in Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the nations who besieged Jerusalem. His flesh will waste away while he still stands on his feet. His eyes will waste away in their sockets, and his tongue shall waste away in his mouth.
And I'll just share with you some of the elements of what they describe as what will be going on in the world right prior to the Messianic age. We're told that there'll be epidemics and horrible diseases. We're told that there'll be international wars and conflicts, that there'll be famines, that there will be poverty and runaway inflation.
What are the two nations that will last until Mashiach comes? Rome and Persia. Now, if you would like to think that today's Iran is Persia, then maybe you say, okay, I got the whole story. Rome is today America. Rome is, the heirs of the ancient European world, the Roman dynasty. That's the United States of America. And Iran, that's Persia. So, at the end of days, it's going to be World War III between Iran and the United States of America.
Nice work, John. Dude, the fact that all of the... Oh, by the way, this is John's compilation. Look at this. Of course, just watching a bunch of rabbis on YouTube and then putting them together in awesome edits. Not only do we get censored from X and banned from big tech platforms for exposing their genocidal, anti-Gentile supremacist plans. Like this visibility limited, you can't... I don't even think you can retweet it again, only because I did it earlier. Can't can't comment anymore. Censored. But then also, the Christians and the Muslims gatekeep and actively cover up this information. They'll steal the videos that they can spin into their narrative, but all the other compilations showing the grand conspiracy, showing the Abrahamic matrix, they don't share. They cover up. They're part of the conspiracy. They're actively suppressing it, and it's disgraceful. Yo, Iron Pilled for 50. You guys are coming through big. You had me worried there the first hour. Thank you so much, Iron Pilled. Says, have a beef and butter carnivore meal with the family, brother. So funny you said that, because I had a New York strip last night on the grill, and then took it off with asparagus in the oven. And I took it off and put a whole bunch of butter on the top, and it melted. It was so juicy and delicious. My daughter loved it. My daughter loves steak. I love steak too. And we had to go to the store early this morning for some milk so she could have some cereal. And she said, I want to get a steak. She wanted to get another steak tonight. And I said, I'll eat steak every day. You want steak every day? Sounds good to me. I'm going to go to the gym again. I went yesterday. I'll go to the gym again. On days I go to the gym and days after, I always like to eat a steak. My protein refill. So thank you, Iron Pilled. I'll up it from a New York to a ribeye just because of you, Iron Pilled. You're the man. Appreciate you. And Dominic Buscemi, longtime supporter. Thank you, Dominic. You had me dying with the Mugatu reference the other day. Dominic is predicting a false flag stage assassination attempt of Trump. Iran gets blamed. President Vance declares war on Iran. Russia allies with Iran, and the battle of Gog and Magog commences. And that would make Trump the Moshiach ben Joseph if he is assassinated. By Putin, he would be Gog. Or Armalus. Thank you, Dominic. And Zorn Der Edom for 5 again says, it is so clear the Western world is a staged theater controlled by Jewish oligarchs and by biblical script. Right? The script unfolds thanks to their behind-the-curtain genocidal shenanigans. Yeah, it'd be good to go to, where was it? I was going to play it earlier. The theater. Oh, yeah, the theater, even on 60 Minutes, bragging about their Mossad wage war by deception theater.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. And the world is our stage.
This is Mossad's old...
The world is their stage, and they're the main actors, and you're following their script and dancing to the beat of their drum, especially when you assume the role of Esau and Ishmael, Christianity and Islam, that they created for you to be Noahides and control your minds with these fake prophecies. Chat's loving the ribeye. Okay, we're all getting ribeyes tonight. Ribeyes, salt and pepper. Trump steak, pagan Christian mathematician's going to have a Trump steak. They're out of business. Porterhouse. I don't think I've ever had a porterhouse, honestly. Red meat is the best. I know. My wife's like, let's get chicken breasts. And I'm just like, oh, you want me to choke to death? Oh, and by the way, like rare, medium rare, anything other than that is like a crime.
Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
We create a pretend world. We are a global...
I forgot that 60 Minutes is even thrown in our faces like that. Yeah, red meat is the best.
We create a pretend world.
If you're a vegan in the chat, you can just pack your bags and leave right now.
Are a global production company.
That's one thing that you know who Voca Spirit was wrong about, right? If he was a vegetarian.
We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. And the world is our stage.
This is Mossad's old office. Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
We create a pretend world. We are.
Oh my God. What did she say, Proverbs 24?
Wage war, as in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
Dude, I need to get that soundbite. This?
We're the main actors.
Hey, but at least they're the main characters, but at least you're in the movie, Goy.
This is our stage.
This is Mossad's old office. Its motto from Proverbs 24:6 says in so many words, wage war through deception and trickery.
We create a pretend world.
Gets me every time. And this is cited in the Zohar also. It's talking about Jacob using deception and trickery against Esau. But wage war by deception, but Christianity's definitely not a deception, though. Yeah, sure. Their motto, yeah, Christians are like, yeah, they wage war by deception and set up controlled opposition, and they don't see, but then they're Christians and they don't see it. They're like, those Jews lie about everything, but you're too dumb to realize that they're lying about Jesus? Proverbs 24:6, by wise guidance you can wage your war, and in abundance of counselors there is victory. And interesting, in Total Yeshu, the Secret Jewish Life of Jesus book, the one that talks about Peter and Paul being double agents of the Jews to create Christianity, it says before Peter decided to be the double agent, he said he went to the Sanhedrin and asked for wise counsel. That's what it is, the wise counsel and guidance. Isn't that so funny? Christians are like, Jews lie about everything, but then they've fallen for the greatest Jewish lie of all time, Christianity and Jesus. At least you're in the movie, Goy.
In Judaism, there's a concept with regard to the faith of the nations. The goal of the people of Israel is to spread knowledge of God to all the peoples of the earth. The goal is not to make everyone Jewish. We're called a kingdom of priests.
Right.
And that means that there has to be a flock. If we're the priests, there's got to be a flock. And the flock is the world.
The flock is the Goyim Christians that proudly call themselves sheep following their King Jewish Davidic dictatorship Messiah. Christians will be like, oh, they call Goy cattle. They think we're cattle. But then they go, oh, Yeshua? Yeah, we're a sheep in the flock following Yeshua HaMashiach.
The idea in Judaism is that God, it's almost like a priestly caste. God chose this specific group of people to be a light unto the nations by demonstrating what a godly lifestyle looks like. God identifies a nation that he treasures as his own, and he has a special relationship with that nation.
According to Judaism, our goal for the world is that everyone have faith in the God of Israel. If they also have faith if they also believe about the God of Israel, that he incarnated himself.
Hold on, we got a vegan bro going crazy in the chat. I knew I would trigger somebody.
Everyone have faith in the God of Israel. If they also have...
Hold on, what's the ultimate goal of the Jews?
According to Judaism, our goal for the world is that everyone have faith in the God of Israel. If they also...
Oh, and guess what Christianity did and Islam did? Got you to have faith in the God of Abraham, which is the God of Israel and Zion. So that's why I call them all Zionist.
Have faith if they also believe about the God of Israel, that he incarnated himself in a human body, that may...
No, the Jews, Jacob would never sell Esau, Edom, a bowl of shit to steal the birthright. No, they would never sell you a bowl of lentils, i.e. Jesus and Christianity, to steal Rome's birthright. They wage war by deception, but Christianity's definitely not a deception. It's only resulted in their greatest allies and supporters and useful idiots and Shabbos Goy Noahide golems. But no, that can't be a conspiracy. Where are the shirts? I don't know. Any day now. I'll show you guys the shirts, though. I meant to show you. Any day now, I should be getting the email that these shirts are ready. And then I just got to fix up the website a little bit. This is what they're going to look like. One of them in the red. I don't have any red shirts. So there's going to be that one, Volknut Runes, and then the new shirt, the orange They Live Trump. Think they're going to be $30. They'll be on the website, nomorenews.org. They should be ready, and I'll be picking them up. And I got to get a new printer to ship the labels, but hopefully we'll be back in business.
Not be what God wants from his priestly class.
Oh, and by the way, I only ordered 50 of each. So if you're like a medium or a double XL, like there's only a few shirts in your size. So when they're ready, you guys better get them quick.
Fine. All right, for the nations of the world, if that's their way into believing in it.
To me, I think the Jews are the stars of the film, okay? The Jews are coming back to Israel. That's us, not them. They believe in the holiness of the process, but they can only be supporting actors. They have no other role. But if we allow them to be supporting actors, wow, at least they're in the movie.
So when we say we're looking forward to a redemption, you and I may have different visions of what that redemption may look like.
You should actually look at the truth and understand that the Jewish people are the greatest gift to mankind. Instead of hating the Jewish people, you should love us. You should kiss our feet, you fool. We're the chosen people, not you.
You know, the biggest thanks that we owe is by being Jews. When you get up in the morning and you find out, I am a Jew, you should give a nice dance before you go to work. Because you have no idea how lucky we are that we are Jews. Because the world is going crazy with jealousy about this. It is only logical and most natural to love the Jew. The Jews should be beloved everywhere. I'm telling you, Jews should be beloved everywhere. Wherever you go to China, you know what should be? The Chinese should say, oh my God, this is a Jew. Let's bow.
Let's bow, he says. Princess Wrongthink for 10. Thank you, Lisa. Says, thanks, Adam. The Glims, that's a new name, I believe. Says, why can't you debate Wilson and Dyer at the same time? I think you could hold your own. Well, I have debated Andrew. And Andrew has been kind enough, Andrew Wilson, he's been kind enough to have me on Crucible to debate like all of his Ortho Bro friends besides Dyer. And of course I could hold my own. I'll call out their bullshit, transcendental presupposition, trap that they go to every time. Their one trick pony bullshit sophistry that they do. And yeah, I mean, I don't even, what is there even to debate? I don't want to talk to that idiot. Can't stand listening to him. I've seen enough of the See Through It All clips to know all the kosher bullshit he peddles. So, yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen, nor do I even want to. Just to point out that he's always been scared and to let all his fanboys know that he's not going to come save them and he ain't got shit and he's a bitch. Okay. Breaking, Attorney General Pam Bondi reveals in a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel that the FBI is withholding Epstein documents from her. Come on, what is this kosher theater going on here? The fix is in. That's all I know. Bottom line, the fix is in. All right, that is all we have for today. Appreciate everybody so much for the support. Huge shout out for that big dono from Black, BLAYK. Great to hear how you resonate with the information and it helped wake you up. Iron Pilled, appreciate you too, bro. I am definitely going to get that steak tonight. 5-star days, steak and asparagus. 5-star days. Watcher, thank you. Zornder Erdom, thank you as well. Thank you, everybody over on Rumble. Good night, Princess Wrongthink. The other ones, did they disappear? Glims, thank you. Princess Wrongthink. What was that big one? Nazi Dice, thank you as well. Dominic Buscemi, Iron Pilled, Pure Blood. John, thanks for all the work, John. You're amazing. Son of Mars. Orson. I think that's everybody. Love you all. Stacia, my girl Stacia, of course, too. Hope you guys all have a nice night. Stay tuned. Tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be on with Jeremy Roth-Kushel. We're going to get into some interesting stuff. Should be a good one. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, interview with Jeremy Roth-Kushel. We're going to get into Russia stuff, Trump stuff, Zionist stuff. He knows a lot. He's an OG. It's going to be a great talk. You guys will enjoy it. And I will see you guys then. Have a nice night and take care.